Hey guys, I'm back with a new interview as usual, but I'm visited by a very interesting guest today. I don't really know how else to say, but the PlayStation guy on Twitter slash PlayStation YouTuber, the real Radec. What's up, dude? How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm actually traveling tomorrow to Maryland, seeing some friends, and then I'm going to head to Too Many Games, a gaming convention, to do a live show with the Spawncast, which is going to be super fun. My first ever live show, which is going to be
No way.
weird.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, man.
Dude, yeah. I
Appreciate it.
mean, thank you for being able to make the time. I know you were traveling and we were kind of behind the scenes, like trying to make this happen. Well, before we get into PlayStation, of course, what I would say that you know quite a lot about, how did you get started with PlayStation? I know that I listened to the retro podcast and you were talking about PlayStation All Stars, and I found that very interesting. I know you kind of mentioned that the other day on their show. So I guess it started somewhere there. Then you got on Twitter slash YouTube. Yeah, where did your love for PlayStation start, and how did you get into the industry?
So I would have to contribute that to my older brother.
Mm.
So for context, I have a older sister that's 2 years older than me, and my brother is 12 years older than me. So he has like a pretty big gap between me and my sister. And he's really the reason why I'm a gamer in the first place. He was really into games growing up. He had a nice PC, he had a PlayStation, Super Nintendo, and he was always the one who would like buy me games when they were coming out. Like I will never forget the memory of him buying God of War 3 for me
Oh,
back
nice,
when I was
nice.
a kid. And dude, I was so excited. Like
And
I
that was
was
your
like,
first God of War.
no, I played the PS2 games
Okay.
because he had them on the PS2. And yeah, I loved God of War back then, but like 3 specifically, I was like, whoa, man, this is gaming, capital G gaming, you know? So like I was always a gamer, PlayStation adjacent, and I like obviously I like Nintendo too back in the day, DS, Game Boy,
Hmm.
and especially the Nintendo Wii. That was like such a powerhouse system for me. But with I would say PS3 because I was like middle school, entering high school during that era, and that's when I really started to learn like the industry of video games. Like I tapped into IGN and GameSpot, learning like I feel like the key indicator for if someone's really tapped into gaming is like if they know the difference between a developer and a publisher. Once you
Yeah.
know that, you're pretty much all right. Like this guy knows what he's talking
Yeah.
about, type shit. So that's when I learned that, and I would say the reason why PlayStation All Stars is like such a like that's the game I always
My
cite
my ears
is because
perked up when I heard you say that, and I just found it very intriguing. This story that you told on their show. So I
oh
wanted to,
appreciate it,
yeah,
man.
yeah, of course.
Dude, yeah, like I apologize for anyone who follows me on Twitter because I will always yap about that game any chance I get. Um, yeah, that game in particular because I love Super Smash Brothers as well. That's probably like my
Mhm.
favorite Nintendo franchise. And Brawl was the one that I spent so many hours on as a kid, just me and my friends playing it constantly. And the rumors came out about like, oh, PlayStation is going to do their own equivalent of that kind of game, and that's like, all right. To me as a kid, I was like, yo, this sounds like the greatest
Dude,
thing
it's
ever.
the
You know,
dream.
like
All the PlayStation icons together. It's a dream.
exactly. And then I would say during like like there's always Smash speculation before every Smash game. It's like, all right, which character is going to get in, which third party character is going to get in. That happened with PlayStation All Stars, and that I would say that speculation era is what really like brought PlayStation as a whole and kind
Mm.
of became like my online identity. It's because of that game I've learned about franchises like Medieval, with Sir Daniel Fortescue, my goat, or other franchises that didn't even make it into the game like Colony Wars or Omega Boost, like more obscure PlayStation games. And that's when I learned about like things like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon aren't PlayStation characters; they're owned by Activision. So I would credit that game a lot into just teaching me about the industry as a whole, like licensing, IP ownership, things like that. And the game came out, I loved it. It was a mixed reception at launch. It had the potential to be something great. 12, 13 years, 14 years later, I'm still waiting for another one.
The sequel,
But
right?
yeah, that's another conversation entirely. But that game I owe a lot to, and that game is the reason why I have any social media presence at all. So, which I'm always going to be very grateful for that game for sure.
Dude, that's so interesting because you are right. I like how you brought up, if somebody's tapped in or if they have their finger on the pulse between developer and publisher, which is kind of anybody can play video games, but if right? But
Exactly.
that's such a unique way. I mean, I don't know if I've ever heard a story like that. Because it is such a good way to like practice, like, where does this character come from? Like, we know it's PlayStation, but that's such a interesting, and then Radec is your real Radec is your username, but Radec is a character of the Killzone character in the game, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, he originates from Killzone 2. He was the Killzone rep in PlayStation All Stars, and I like Killzone. I like Killzone a lot, actually. Like, it probably, if I were to rank like my top 10, 15 PlayStation IP, it would definitely be in there. It's not my favorite for sure, but Radec specifically I love because he was my main. In fighting games, I always tend to gravitate towards the zoners. Pretty much anyone who uses a gun, like
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
probably my character, and Radec was like, the character for
Yeah.
that. So yeah, that's how I got my name, Real Radec. The real part of it, I really don't know
That's fine. I mean,
how I came up with that.
I like the alliteration, the real Radec.
Exactly, for sure.
And then I also feel like your profile picture is so famous on Twitter. Like, I want to call. I mean, you were definitely a YouTuber, but I feel like your presence. I mean, dude, you're huge on Twitter, and you're always talking. Like, you're one of the biggest PlayStation guys on Twitter. So,
I
which is
appreciate that.
no,
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, of
like
course.
people usually like it's a why isn't your profile picture Radec? To be honest, like before I blew up, and first of all, I want to make it clear, I'm super grateful for like how big my account has gotten. Like I never would have believed it would have got this far. So
Yeah.
to like just thank you to everybody who supports me. It's been like a journey for sure. But Secret Agent Clank was my profile picture that I chose, and specifically, it's the PlayStation Stars figure when PlayStation Stars
Oh
used to be a
yeah, it
thing.
is. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
So I chose that. I screenshotted it, made it my profile picture, and then when my account started blowing up in like I would say like late 2023, early 2024,
Okay.
that's a profile picture that stuck, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, like I'm not gonna change this. Like I kind of feel attachment to Secret Agent Clank now.
Mm.
I know it's probably the worst Ratchet game. Like I do understand, but
Dude,
it
those
has a
those
special
like
place in my heart for
those
me.
movie themed levels are so good though. Like the Indiana Jones one is burned into my forehead.
Oh, that's in Daxter, right?
Oh, that isn't Daxter. You're totally right. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Yes, yes,
and
yes.
Daxter is a way better game than Secret
You're
Agent
right.
Clank.
Daxter
Like
is a
I'll
lot
give you
better.
that, Jack and
Yeah,
Daxter
yeah, yeah.
fans. Yeah.
That's totally my fault. I'm also, before we get into PlayStation and their current status, I find it interesting because I had seen, to backtrack a little bit, I had seen your profile picture and that's what made you so famous. I didn't even really know who you were particularly, but I would always see your tweets. And then I think I'd seen some YouTube videos, but then I saw you on the Sons of Sparta spoiler cast with Colin. And what did that look like for you? Like, when did you start talking to Colin Moriarty, which is huge in the PlayStation ecosystem? Like, did you just meet him on Twitter, or how did that work?
So I've been listening to Colin and the other IGN guys back during their podcast Beyond era.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be like 2011, 2012. And him, Greg Miller, Ryan Clements, like
Totally.
all those guys, like they've pretty much, specifically more so Greg and Colin, because Ryan did like game dev stuff.
Yeah.
Like they've been voices I've been listening to for like over a decade now
Yeah.
on like a weekly basis, which is kind of crazy to think about. But with Colin specifically, I remember yeah, I was just like a casual fan of like his new thing, Last Stand Media, Sacred Symbols. I, listened to him during the Kind of Funny days. I still listen to Kind of Funny daily, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember he followed me, I would say like sometime in 2024, I can't remember. And that was the one I was like, oh wow. It's like, damn, this is kind of
Holy
crazy.
moly. Yeah.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
crazy.
And I still get that feeling sometimes, like when like a notable game developer follows me, and it's like, oh, you're following me, like
Yeah.
some guy who just shit posts about fucking Infamous on Twitter. Like again,
But
super grateful.
but you know your stuff. I mean, you're like, I mean, you again, like, you have your finger on the pulse, and I think that's what attracts everybody to you. I mean, especially Colin. So, but yeah, what was it? What was the first show you were on with Colin? Because that's insane.
So yeah, the first show with Colin specifically. Well, before that, I was on an episode of Summon Sign, hosted
Okay,
by
cool.
Brad Ellis,
Yep.
formerly of Easy Allies, and Gene Park was on that episode. And I owe Gene a lot for my Twitter rise. for lack of a better term. Like I think he retweeted 2 of my posts,
Mm.
and that's what really started the ball rolling. Like I started getting like followers on a regular basis. I was like, "Yo, this is crazy."
What were those
But
posts? Do you remember what those posts were?
one of them for sure was I think I called the Horizon franchise the Avatar of gaming,
Real.
which definitely upset some people.
Yeah.
But it was more like a facetious joke.
Hmm.
And then another one was like I was comparing like Nintendo first party sales to like Sony sales, something like that. Because that was during, oh, yeah, I remember, it was during the Insomniac hack breach
Yeah.
situation, right? When a bunch of like sales data that we would have never gotten got revealed. And that's what really blew up. So talking to Gene in person was really cool. Same with Brad. And then in earlier this year, I would say like January, it must have been January, right? I was on an episode of Summon Sign again, but this time with Brad and Colin.
Cool.
So it was just cool chatting Colin for the first time, just like being like bringing up the most obscure
Yeah.
PlayStation stuff and just nerding out. And then he reached out. I think Brad reached out to me a few weeks later, saying like, "Hey,
Mm.
do you want to be on the Sons of Sparta spoiler cast?"
Cool.
I'm like, "Yeah, sure," because like once that game came out, like I had to play it and platinum it as fast
Yeah.
as possible since I love God of War, and that was a really cool conversation. So again, super grateful to
Yeah.
be invited on those shows and just talk about PlayStation.
Dude, that's so neat, man. I love too. It's like you always see the wrong people get famous, right? But like, I feel like you're one of the real ones. Like you kind of get it, and you deserve that. And how much I always call it studying when I'm sitting here playing a game, but like it really is. Like if you care about the industry, that's what you're doing. Like you have to kind of play games to understand it. So that's so neat that you kind of can't, you listen to them all the time. And I got the chance to talk to Colin. And it's very surreal in that it's like we are all just people in our rooms making videos. And we're all
Exactly.
kind of just
Yeah.
the same, right? That's really neat, man. And I'm happy that you're able to be here and talk to me. So I kind of just want to go into, I have it titled here where PlayStation is and where it's going. But we could start off talking about the state of play because I feel like their last state of play is kind of a direction that we're going into the PS6. So I just want to name off like the first party stuff that we heard about, and then we can just go from there. So of course
Sure,
we have
let's do it.
Wolverine, Marvel Tokon, Fighting Souls, which is Arc System Works, Until Dawn 2, which is Fire Sprite, which I really, 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 really want to talk to you about that. So I feel like not enough people are talking about that dev. And God of War, Lofi by Santa Monica, of course. So let's go into Wolverine. We can go one by one and however we feel like talking about these. Where are you at on Wolverine with Insomniac? Are you glad they're making Marvel games? Where are you at with that?
So I think Wolverine looks awesome. Like the gameplay demo, I'm like, yeah, like the gore, especially the environmental takedowns. I was like he kicks a guy into a forklift. I'm like, this is just awesome. And the idea of Insomniac making Marvel games. So unfortunately, the leak happened. Like we kind of like it's kind of hard to talk about their future without addressing the fact that we do know their future for like the next 10 years or so, give or take. I'm not mad that they're making more Marvel games because like one, I love Spider-Man. He's like my favorite Marvel character. So it's
Totally.
like, all right, like a great PlayStation developer making a game based off of my favorite Marvel character. I can't really be mad about that. And I would say like Wolverine is like in my top 5 Marvel characters. So again, I can't really be mad about that either. Uh, I do understand some people could be disappointed because like, people want Resistance, people want more Ratchet, people want them to make a new IP. So the thing that I always have to keep in mind is like these Marvel games are probably like I actually think Spider-Man 1 alone outsold every previous Insomniac game combined, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like I don't know, I don't have the hard data for that, but that sounds true to me. So you have to take that into account. It's like why would they stop making Marvel games? And two, I think is like I'm not too worried about it because like we do know that they are working on another Ratchet and Clank game, which makes me very happy because I always feel like PlayStation does need IP to like stand the test of time and keep making new entries. And Ratchet and Clank is like the perfect like family friendly one of those things. And they are making a new IP. It's going to be in the early 2030s. It's going to take a while, but new IP is good. So like, yeah, we'll get more Marvel games. Yes, they will sell a shit ton of copies.
Yeah. To
But
barely pay for those licensing fees, of course. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, the licensing
um
fees are definitely crazy. But yeah, I feel like what I will say that after Spider-Man 3, I do think I am done with Insomniac Spider-Man games. Not in a negative sense, but like I do want to see them just move on to other franchises, Marvel or new IP.
Yeah. No, I think that you I mean, yeah, you raise a good point. I think after 3, not that it's bad or it's exhausting, but yeah, I think it's time to move on.
Yeah,
You also mentioned Resistance, and I would love a new Resistance, of course.
me too.
But it's just I just wish that we could get a collection, right? Like that's all I really think that would be good to for when they're making these Marvel games, like give us Resistance. But yeah, I'm very excited for Wolverine. I think it looks wonderful. And I like that I've written down that I love like the gore and having to heal manually. I think that's cool, and I think like a lot of people are against it, but I think it'd be cool on like a harder difficulty. It seems very neat because it feels like you'll have to think about how the health bar is moving, and I don't know. I think it looks very cool, and I just love comic books as well. You can see I have my Superman book back there.
Nice.
I just also my Uncharted movie poster. I just want that to be known.
Oh, cool. Dope.
But yeah, I'm excited.
See Pac-Man there too.
I do have Pac-Man right there. I got it from New York last year.
I love Pac-Man. Yeah,
that's very good. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's interesting where everybody is with Insomniac and Marvel games. So, but cool. Yeah, I'm excited. We'll see where they go. Where are you at with Marvel Tokon? I know it's kind of a weird one because it's a fighting game, but you do originate from All Stars. So
yeah, so Marvel Tokon does look not the same. It's more of a tag fighter.
No.
And I do think the base roster is a little too low for a 4v4 tag fighter with 20 characters only. Of course, you're going to have like years of DLC, so the roster issue will fix itself eventually. The game looks great. Again, I love how they're focusing on like characters that haven't been in fighting games. Like an obscure character like Danger. Like I had no idea who Danger was. But that's cool. Like I like having the obscure random dark horse pick in a fighting game. I feel like every fighting game should have that. I love Green Goblin and Carnage being in there. I think that's so cool. Last time I played as those guys in the video game was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 back in the day on PS3. And Venom is my favorite Marvel character, but like I'm actually cool with Carnage being in the game instead because it just like offers some more variety, different spice of life.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest, and this is like just a personal thing, it's not anything against the game, but I'm looking at this. Oh, PlayStation is investing in another fighting game again for like the first time. Well, Street Fighter 6 they technically funded that to make it like a PlayStation console exclusive, but I wanted this game to be another PlayStation crossover game so bad.
Like, when you read that like what they were working on,
yeah, like I saw the Arc Systems logo. Like it was a state of play last year for the June 2025 state of play.
I was sitting here. I remember watching it.
Yeah, I see the PlayStation Studios logo. It's like our new game. I see the Arc Systems Works logo. I'm like, oh shit! Like, are they making like a fighting game? And then in my mind is like, yo, are they making like another PlayStation crossover fighting game? And then you see Captain America's shield. It's like, all right, they're making a Marvel game, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, we're so close to the dream. Like getting an established, fantastic developer like Arc System Works on a PlayStation crossover fighter would have been the dream, but I gotta wait a few more years for that again. So
yeah, I mean, I understand why PlayStation. Again, I mean, Marvel makes a lot of money, even though the licensing fees are expensive. I assume, I don't know this. I'm kind of speaking out of my ass, but I assume that the licensing fees are probably cheaper for an Arc Systems game versus like Insomniac doing like huge I don't know how that works exactly, but
you might be onto something there because like Arc System Works is based in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Games in Japan cost less to make.
Yeah,
especially with Insomniac, which is like 200, 300 person studio. So you're onto something there for sure.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of cool too that they're pairing the fight stick with that. I like to see like PlayStation make hardware. I think that's cool. Like I love a weird mouse like back in the day and I like this shit. So I think it's really cool that they're kind of trying to sell that. I think I might even pick it up for it and just test it out.
Me too. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited to play as Green Goblin. I'm a huge comic book reader, as I said, and I'll probably pick it up. I'll probably be really bad at it, but I'll still try to climb the ranks and get my ass beaten. Okay, Until Dawn 2 by Fire Sprite. I feel like I'm in an asylum because I feel like not enough people are talking about that Fire Sprite is making an Until Dawn 2. Like everybody's excited for Until Dawn 2, but dude, what is your read on, I mean, pretty much a VR dev making Until Dawn 2? What is your read on that exactly?
So Fire Sprite was always like an interesting acquisition to me. I think they
Very
got
weird.
purchased in 2021. And by that point, they only made like, Run Sackboy Run on the PlayStation Vita. I think they helped with the Playroom. And they had like that one game called The Persistence, which is like a horror game. I never played it.
I think it's a roguelite on, I have it pulled up. Yeah, it's a PSVR roguelite, which I've never played it either.
Okay. Dope. Yeah, I actually need to play that at some point. But yeah, when they got purchased, I was like, okay, they're making PSVR 2 game, Horizon Call of the Mountain. I have a VR 2. I haven't played Call of the Mountain yet specifically, so I do have to play that too eventually. But with them making Until Dawn 2, I was because there were rumors a few years ago that they were working on a horror game based on an established Sony
I
IP,
do remember that. Yeah.
and like there are only like two options really. Like it was either Until Dawn or Siren. And Siren would have been awesome, like because that first Siren game is really cool. But the more likely option was going to be Until Dawn 2. And they had the movie that came out like a year ago, which I actually kind of liked. They had the remake
That's
being
fun.
developed by Ballistic Moon, which launched pretty poorly, and then they got fixed. I feel like they kind of fixed it in a few updates, but clearly that remake didn't do too well because the studio doesn't exist anymore. So that remake was kind of a failure, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand, like, some former Supermassive devs did work on that remake, but didn't really change the fate of that game. And I do think some former Supermassive devs are at Fire Sprite as well, so there is some lineage to the original developer with this new sequel, Until Dawn 2. We do know, thanks to Doc Ray Montgomery, one of the stars of the game, that this game was in development since 2022. So it'll come out next year. Standard 5-year dev cycle for a AAA game. That's just the way things are now, unfortunately. But yeah, my big thing about Until Dawn is like Sony chose to revive this IP in particular, right? Not that it's a bad thing. I love Until Dawn. I even like the weird VR spin-offs they did, Rush of Blood and The Inpatient,
Right.
the
I've
prequel.
never played those. I also need to get around to those. Those are very cool.
Rush
Very
of
weird.
Blood Rush of Blood is really cool. Like it's a cool Unreal shooter launch game for the time. And the fact that I was just so bewildered by like, is it because like they had something with Until Dawn, but then Supermassive went off to do the Dark Pictures games with Bandai Namco, and Sony was like, "Ah, man, we could have had this because Until Dawn is really huge with the casual crowd." Like, remember earlier, how I was talking about like, if you know the difference between a developer and a publisher, you're tapped in.
Yep.
Well, most people who play Until Dawn don't know the difference between the developer and the publisher, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. But it's just like you're catering to a different market, right?
Totally. You have to know your crowd. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but yeah, you have to know your crowd. And I think Until Dawn sells to casuals. Like, not that it's a Call of Duty of PlayStation, but it does sell like that. You're very right. So yeah. Anyway,
for sure. And yeah, I feel like them doubling down on the Until Dawn IP is a cool move. I love how they're keeping the Dr. Hill character involved from the original. It's like a cool way to tie the sequel to the original game. Because my question was like, okay, if they're doing an Until Dawn 2, like, is it going to be a new cast? Are they going to bring some of the old actors back in main prominent roles? How are they going to tackle it? And then after seeing this trailer, it's like, okay, they want their own Dark Pictures.
Mhm.
And I think like having the big AAA choice-based game is a good thing to have in their portfolio. Like Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, the Quantic Dream trilogy. Those also fit that bill. So I do like that Sony is like diversifying their portfolio with another choice-based narrative game again. So I think that's pretty sick.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too that the Supermassive games, like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Radec, but they haven't really done very well. So it's kind of like critically, I would say, or even profitably, right? But I'm weird enough, and I love the Corey. I think the Corey is
Me too. I
awesome.
like that game a
Yeah,
lot.
and a lot of
Yeah.
people are kind of against it, but kind of into it. And I'm not big on like choice based games, but I'm excited nonetheless. I'm also excited that Fire Sprite is making it. I kind of like that they're like, hey, make this game, make a sequel to what used to be, to that. So I'm very excited. We'll see. I kind of like the premise too, like the ghost hunting on the island. I think it seems neat, and I'm hoping that we haven't seen a lot of it. I hope they're, they kind of expand it, and I like how they're connected as well.
Yeah.
The movie was also interesting as well to kind of try to build hype for the IP, and it did fine, I guess. But I didn't mind it as well. You're right, it was pretty good.
Yeah, and the thing with Fire Sprite is like they were like this is the biggest question mark to me is like we do know that they were working on a Twisted Metal game at some point.
Yeah.
It got canceled in 2024. I think Jason Schreier confirmed that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was doing research for Fire Sprite, like they are working on another game separate from Until Dawn 2 called Project Pillar. We have no idea what this game is. It could be another attempt at Twisted Metal. It could be something brand new, multiplayer, single player. So I'm really curious about their future as well, because like if they were working on Twisted Metal and Until Dawn 2, which are two very different games in very different genres, like they could have the flexibility to surprise us and give us something truly unique that
Yeah.
I think PlayStation does need.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you raise a good point too. Like, it is a bit of a question mark because they're very different games. You can't really reuse assets for each of
Yeah.
those, really. But you're right. I should have mentioned that. Yeah, the live service push they had for Twisted Metal, and which was canceled. Which, man, I would love to see a single player Twisted Metal. Maybe a little
Yeah.
little multiplayer mode in there, but not a live service push as we've seen. But I think we're still going to get those live service games. But
Yep.
cool. Yeah. All right. So the big one, Radec, that is circling, of course, the rounds is God of War, lofi, which is very interesting because originally we see 20 minutes of uncut gameplay. But originally I thought from the reports that were coming out that it was going to be more traditional, right? Like more like camera back, the hack and slash, like Devil May Cry. And then we see gameplay and it's like, this is just a continuation of of God of War 1, which I don't think is particularly a bad thing. It just kind of sucks that Cory Barlog has been making this. I thought it was going to be something else. So what do you think about this, Radec? Where are you at with God of War lofi?
Yeah, so when I saw it, and like the camera is like slightly pulled back further from the Norse games, but not pulled back enough where it's like the Greek games, so it's like a weird in between. I will say when I saw Faye jump and then double jump, I'm like, yes, I was like so happy. It's like we get to do air combos again, like in the old God of War games. Sweet. I think the premise is pretty cool, like Afterlife of the Gods. Every pantheon is on the table. We see like the Egyptian goddess of war, the Tibetan god of war. There's so many questions about the lore. I could go on and on. But the question,
Please do if you feel like it, Radec.
I would be here forever. But I will say that I do get people's disappointment. Maybe with Corey or maybe the studio in general that it is another God of War game. Like I remember Jason Schreier was like, it's not going to be a new IP, but it's going to feel like one. So people were like, oh, are they going to like reboot Kinetica in like a weird way, or are they like making, I don't know, like Siphon Filter or something crazy?
Yeah.
But no, it's another God of War game, and I do think, as I said earlier, that PlayStation does need to have franchises that persist throughout generations, like Nintendo. Like, there's always going to be a Mario game, there's always going to be a Zelda game, and so on and so on. PlayStation's big strength was they always moved on, right? And that applies to a lot of their studios. That never applied to God of War, though. Like, they made Kinetica as their first game, but since 2005, they've been with God of War for over 20 years, and it's worked out great. They reinvented it from Ascension to 2018, and 2018 became a massive success. Like, the Norse games are the most popular God of War has ever been. They're making the Amazon show, Sons of Sparta, the spin-off, the remake trilogy, this new mainline game with God of War Laufey. And I get people's disappointment. For me personally, as a God of War fan, I love it. And they confirmed that more stories with Kratos are coming, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
their future is still going to be God of War. And I think that's necessary for PlayStation. I do think they need a reliable, single player focused, mainstream AAA IP that persists. Gran Turismo is there as well. Gran Turismo is great. But they need, God of War is just like, I would say the most like, there's a thing called the Q rating, which is pretty much like the popularity of an IP. And I would argue that God of War is probably their most popular IP ever
Mm-hmm.
that they created from games. So abandoning that would be foolish. So I'm totally on board for Santa Monica creating more God of War games. But I do understand if people are disappointed for sure.
Yeah, I think I personally I'm lukewarm on it. Like I'm not upset about it at all. Like I'm pretty
For sure.
stoked to be able to explore the new the afterlife and kind of explore what death means in this world and like where Kratos will go and where he has been from what we see from the gameplay. I want to read my notes to you because I think it's hilarious because I was taking notes in the presentation and I say continuation question mark a lot faster than what we were used to from God of War. A talking cube is a strange choice, which of course is Quaid, which is the voice of him. And then I said, I don't know how to feel about this game. Wait, combat, the sword she gets is pretty awesome. So I do like the talking sword, and it's funny how we are getting a lot of talking mascots from PlayStation, but whatever. So yeah, I think I'm lukewarm on it. Of course, I'm gonna play it. People are thinking it's gonna come out really soon, which is funny. Do you think that I think this game will review critically wonderfully? Do you think it will do good commercially? Do you think people will boot up the PlayStation? Like, let's just use, for example, the Until Dawn people. Are they going to see new God of War? I want to play this. Like on the store. Do you think that it'll do well commercially?
I would not bet against God of War, no. Because even Sons of Sparta, as Shadow dropped,
No.
and like the game is fine. Like to me,
Yeah.
it's a nice solid 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
The Metacritic is like a 68 or 69, so it didn't review that well, but it did chart on the Circana report the month it came out, right? I think it
Mm-hmm.
got like 11th, 10th or 11th, which is
Yeah,
really
they did
good
pretty well.
for a cheap game like that.
Yeah.
So like if that game did that well for a Shadow drop, like I do think a AAA God of War game, even if it doesn't start Kratos, is going to do pretty well. Will it do as well as like Ragnarok or 2018? Probably not. But I don't. I think it'll life in the next. I would say 2 year span from 2027 to 2029. It could do like a nice 15 million copies. Like
Yeah.
I feel like God of War still has that cachet for
Yeah.
lack of a better term.
Yeah, I think the name will push it forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think we'll see it sooner than we think. I mean, a lot of people are guessing that. I still think we have a little bit. A lot of people are very optimistic about it, so we'll see. Cool. Well, let's get into the next little part. I kind of want to talk to you about console exclusives. Of course, the retraction from PC ports, other than live service games, we're going to get on PC. I mean, I personally, I don't want to say I'm toxic here. I like console exclusives. I'm a bit of a fan. I think it just sells units. Realistically, not that I want to gatekeep. I want everyone to play games, and I'm happy that people are able to play games on PC. But I mean, how do you feel about exclusivity back on PlayStation?
I agree. I like console exclusives. That's probably because I was born in the era of when that wasn't even a question. Like
Mm.
if you want a console to sell, you need
Right.
exclusives.
Yeah.
That's simple as that. And like the idea of like I actually like that Xbox is making console exclusives again with like Gears and Clockwork. I'm sure their future AAA games that they haven't announced will be console exclusive as well. It's like great, give people a reason to buy an Xbox. I think that's
Yeah, I agree.
like once they started to do the multi-platform push, it's like why would I ever buy an
Yep.
Xbox? I'll just wait for the game on PlayStation.
No.
So, and I feel like with Sony, the PC strategy, it was an experiment for sure. They definitely didn't do themselves any favors because I felt like they were constantly like stepping on rakes in one way or another. The PSN login debacle was, especially for Helldivers, was like a huge controversy that they had to go back on. Some of the PC ports didn't launch as well. Like there's funny memes with like the Last of Us Part 1 PC port,
Yeah,
like
that
Joel
was. Yep.
sweating constantly. It's just
Yeah.
like bad optics. And then one thing I feel like Sony didn't consider is like with PlayStation exclusives, we never really knew how well they sold or how many players they had
Mm-hmm.
because that info was always kept internally and they would reveal it if it was really well, With PC and Steam DB and Steam charts, it's like, it's pretty out in the open. So when people see that God of War Ragnarok's player count is nowhere near as high as God of War 2018's player count on PC, it creates this perception problem for Sony.
Yeah.
And I feel like the PC port thing has created a ton of perception problems for the brand. There's always the joke of PS5 has no games, and like
It's
porting
crazy.
your exclusives to PC kind of contributes to that narrative, right?
Yeah.
Like Returnal to me is it's not a PS5 exclusive anymore because it's on PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't on PC, it would be a true PS5 exclusive, and maybe that narrative or joke would have died like a few years ago because like PC ports weren't a thing, and the notion of PS5 having no games wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So I feel like it just created optical issues, and of course the most important thing is due to the financials that were publicly shared. They didn't make that much money on them.
Not
So
at
it's
all.
like, is it worth
No.
like like but I always hate this saying, but like is like the juice worth the squeeze? Like I hear that phrase on every podcast, but it kind of rings true for this one. It's like I don't think it was worth it for the PC
Yeah, I
ports.
mean, I always find it interesting too, and they have talked about it at nauseum on Sacred Symbols and even Games Daily, and pretty much every podcast. Is that it is interesting how early games on PC ports were sold a lot better, right? Like they just sold a lot better because it was new, it was fresh, and
Yeah.
the more games that come out, it's just like it. And I think most of the time, if you want to play a game, you probably are just going to get it on PlayStation, right? If it's going to come out a year later. I think the thought was kind of like the Rockstar thing is like people are going to double dip. Like, okay, they'll buy our copy one time, then they'll buy it on PC later on. But I don't think it really worked out there that way.
No.
I also have the Xbox debacle kind of squeezed in later, but we can talk about it now since we like where are you at with, I mean, again, like you said, you're pro exclusivity. I do like the Xbox is doing that. But again, I think it's so weird because they're still in PC. And I think, in my opinion, again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but which most of the time I am, but I just feel like they need to sell units if they want to succeed. Of course, they are more of a software company, but I still think it's weird that they're going to be like, not on PlayStation, but it'll be on PC and Xbox. I'm like, why don't you just do a console exclusive? Do you think it's smart that Xbox is gonna be releasing on PC still, or should they go the Sony route?
I would love for them to go the Sony route. It's just like they're in a different position than PlayStation. It's
Totally.
like they've been on PC since 2016, man.
Yeah.
It's like they're so entrenched in that ecosystem. And the funny thing is, like most people buy their Xbox games on Steam, not even on the Xbox PC store, which is like they're not even getting like the full 100% rip from sales. That's always the conundrum. Like in a perfect world, I would love to see them just go like Xbox console exclusive. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them revoking that decision. It's just tough, man.
Yep.
It's like I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I try to think like, I mean, yeah, you're right because I'm gonna buy Gears E-Day on Steam. Like that's what I'm gonna do, and that's how it's gonna be. And yeah, I'm just interested like what games would sell an Xbox console. Like really, I mean, would Halo sell a lot of Xboxes? I like to think so. I like to think Gears would also, but what else do they have? They really don't have a lot anymore. It feels like
That's
so. Yeah,
a good point. Yeah, for sure. Because like they said, like one console exclusive this year and one console exclusive next year. You need way more than that, man.
way more. And I like to see original IPs, but I just don't think original IPs are going to sell consoles anymore. Especially since they are so entrenched in the PC ecosystem. So I think it's so unfortunate, and it makes me very sad because I was an Xbox 360 kid until PS4, and then I fell in love with PlayStation history, and it's been history ever since. So so yeah, I want to talk about too the future for PlayStation. I'll read my question here, and then I'll just kind of reframe it. So what is next for PlayStation, and what do you want next for the PlayStation? And then I'll pair it with this: is if they were to revisit any IPs, what do you want them to revisit? You can kind of pair that together, and then we can kind of go into discussion from there.
Ooh, what do I want from PlayStation in the future? So we do know that they're clearly scaling back their games as a service initiative, which I think is great.
Mhm.
I'm not against Sony making multiplayer games at all. The way they did it was like I don't like how they used first party teams to do it specifically. I feel like like the only success story they had really was with a second party team that they worked with before, Arrowhead, with Helldivers 1 back in like 2015. They made the sequel and which blew up. So I feel like that's like the game plan you should do. And they did try to do that with Firewalk and Haven. The problem is they bought those studios and which they should have never bought.
We see what happened there.
Exactly. So yeah, just like their decision making was weird. But the Bungie thing, I don't even want to get into. That's a whole nother can of worms. Like
I was ranting
that's
about it
making
today at work, so I understand.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I was ranting a lot
Yeah,
about it. Yeah.
it's just crazy. And like one thing I will say about that is like 3 billion, 3.5 billion. I can't remember the exact number. It's just like it just makes me sad about the opportunity cost. It's like, all right, well, like imagine that 3 billion. Of course, it doesn't work like this specifically. Like imagine that money was like split in between, 5 to 10 teams that could have offered like single player games, maybe other smaller multiplayer experiments. So their decision making this generation has been pretty frustrating. I would say the most frustrating out of any generation of PlayStation.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're turning the ship, Jim Ryan's gone, Nishino is involved, he's the new CEO. I'm more confident with him at the helm than I ever was with Jim Ryan for sure.
Yeah.
And I do like how he's clearly putting up more of an emphasis on Japan, which I feel like Sony has ignored
Mhm.
foolishly these past few years, especially with how like just not just anime but Japanese games in general have blown up this past decade. And the most important thing is like games in Japan are just cheaper to make than they are in America,
Yeah.
which a lot of first party Sony games are made in America. So
And it's
I
very
feel like
important too. I mean,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt you there.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's important. Well, there's two things I want to pull from, but I'll start with the Japan thing. It's extremely important to remember because how I got into PlayStation history was researching, the Nintendo drive onto the PlayStation, or they wanted the disc to be attached to the Nintendo console, and I think it's so important for them to remember where they come from, and they have ignored it for a very long time. So I love that point that you talk about. I also, so many people are against the Bungie acquisition, and I'm kind of not, in the sense of like, I think it made sense at the time when they were like, I mean, the idea would have been Bungie, look at these games and tell us, are these good live service games? It just sucks that, The Last of Us Online, got closed. And I think that game would have sold many more units than Marathon, of course. But yeah, I've always been pro Bungie acquisition if it would have worked out, in the sense of like, you looked at live service games and you said, this is a good idea, this is a bad game, and they actually got these games out. But I mean, it didn't work out like that. So yeah, it does suck that money was not dispersed in different ways. But anyway, yes, continue. The Bungie thing is, I am very, very, very faded by it, because on one hand I'm for it, and then on the other two, it's like it just didn't work out the way it was supposed to. So
Yeah, like I kind of share that sentiment too. Like I do think it's like is this a positive or not? I really don't know. But let's say, for example, because of the Insomniac hack, we do know that Insomniac was working on a Spider-Man multiplayer game,
the Great Web,
at some point. The Great Web, exactly. And like there's videos of it, and conceptually, it does look like a cool idea, right?
Yeah.
Thing is, if that went through, like we would have been waiting so much longer for Wolverine. We would have been waiting so much longer for Spider-Man 3. It's kind of the problem Guerrilla's running into with Horizon Hunters Gathering.
Yeah.
Thanks to Jason Schreier, we know that most of the studio is working on that multiplayer game. So we're gonna have to wait even longer for Horizon 3.
The avatar
So
of gaming, of course, Radec,
the avatar of gaming. But so in a way, like I am sad about Last of Us Factions, but because it's canceled, like we're gonna get intergalactic and like the rumored Uncharted game a lot sooner. Because if Factions was like
Let's hope.
up and running, I'm sure that like it would have been like the most high fidelity live service game. That's going to take up a ton of resources. You're probably going to have to use up support studios to be on that game, and those support studios, if they're on Last of Us Factions, they're not going to be able to help another studio with their single player game. It just creates this whole can of worms. So like, yeah, the Bungie thing is like on one hand, terrible acquisition, spent way too much money, but like that one slither of positivity, it's like, all right, maybe their advice on the live service initiative was actually a great thing to have. So,
and yeah, I think the assets from online or Factions will be used in inevitable, whenever we see it, Last of Us 3, of course. So I don't think I don't think it was for nothing. It just, man, it really sucks that we didn't get it. I am pretty sad about that. But on the other hand, I think that, yeah, you do raise a great point. Hopefully that is Uncharted with Cassie Drake, and we get to be playing that sooner rather than later, because, man, I can't wait to go back to that universe. I love Uncharted so much. So, yeah, I will see. Do you think it's about Cassie Drake? Do you think that that's the route?
I would bet money on it for sure.
Yeah, I think it's
with Uncharted. Like, I love Uncharted. It's like top 3 PlayStation franchise for me. And it's so funny. It could be literally like, it could be a remake of 1 or Golden Abyss. It could be another Chloe game. It could be a Sully prequel, a Sam Drake game, a prequel with starring Sir Francis Drake. It's like anything Uncharted, I will take, and I'm confident that they'll deliver a banker. So like the Cassie Drake game, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be there day 1 for sure.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't remember who reported on it. It might have been Colin, but Bluepoint had made, or was it Bluepoint that made the
Jason Schreier.
It was a Jason. Okay, then they made the linear level of like the first part of the remake of 1. Do you know what I'm talking about? And so yeah, I wonder could they have just given that to Naughty Dog and been like, hey, you can continue this remake before they were going to be closed down. So that would be interesting. I would rather have a Cassie Drake game, but again, yeah. To say anything, I'm a slut for Uncharted, so I'll take anything you can give me. Cool, yeah. And so yeah, again, like I asked before, any IPs that PlayStation could revisit it, because I think that we're gonna see PlayStation and Sony revisiting a lot of IPs to close out or just to go into the PS6 generation. I think we're gonna see it a lot. I just have this feeling. I don't know, my gut. I don't know for some reason, but with the infamous rumors and stuff. So
yeah, I had that feeling too. Funny enough, because like I am like the most positive I've been about like old dormant PlayStation IP returning.
Yeah.
I like we already see examples of this, like Fantavision 2020X. They licensed that to Cosmomachia.
I saw you talk about that. Very interesting.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, because like no one else is going to talk about Fantavision, so like it has to be me, unfortunately.
It does.
And then they did the experiment with Bandai Namco. We got 2 remasters. Freedom Wars remastered, which was awesome. Patapon 1+2 replay, which was cool. A little less exciting because of those games were already remastered for PS4, so they just like remastered them again. But then we got a brand new game in the Hot Shots Golf franchise, Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, which was really cool to see. So they are like the seeds have already been planted, right? And I do think they're going to partner with more like second party, third party teams to bring back some of their older IP. There's a rumor, not even a rumor. We do know that People Can Fly, creators of Bulletstorm, Outriders, Gears of War Judgment, they are working with Sony on an established PlayStation IP. So like speculation's going crazy. Could it be a Killzone game, Resistance, Siphon Filter, Warhawk, SOCOM? So the fact that they make shooters like kind of gives me hope that it's going to be one of those franchises.
We could hope,
which would be really cool. The infamous rumors, as you said, remakes of 1 and 2, and that's the thing. Like you mentioned the Resistance collection earlier. I feel like with PS3 games, I feel like Sony is like they should invest in an emulator for their PlayStation Plus premium service. I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. I feel like their play is, well, all right, we're just going to like remaster these games, and because that would sell more than a basic port, in my opinion. Just look at Oblivion Remastered, which looks like graphically it looks like a remake. Metal Gear Solid Delta, the remake of MGS3. So that's like, I feel like if the infamous rumors are true and they do come from a credible source, it won't be just be like a simple remaster or port. I do think it will be like a remake,
Mm,
which would be awesome.
yeah.
Other IP I would love to see. I mean, Twisted Metal is the one that always jumps to mind. We do know that they were attempting to revive that. They canceled the live service initiative push. So I do hope that they try again because season 3 of the show is coming out next year. I love the show so much. It's like easily the best thing PlayStation production has done. So I do feel like they do need a game to tie into that show while it's
Totally.
still relevant.
I agree. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say I'm hopeful for like Twisted Metal, another shooter IP, some more dormant Japan studio IP coming back from Bandai Namco via licensing. And last one, I do think Ape Escape has a chance of coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if it's
saw
gonna
you
be,
talk about that. Yeah.
yeah, like it could be from Team Asobi, it could be
That'd be
another
cool.
like licensing situation from Bandai Namco, but there's something specifically with Ape Escape that I feel like there is like some energy behind it. So
And
that would be really
the
cool.
Ape Escape level in Astro, it was awesome.
Yep.
It was incredible. And then we saw it in Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some seeds being planted. I've never played the original. I need to. I know it's a classic. But yeah, I think you raise a great point about PS3. I have my beautiful baby right here. She's always
Love it.
running. I love the PS3. And I've started collecting a lot. I'm a big
Super
fan.
slim, right?
Yes.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I'm a super big fan of PS3. It's probably my favorite generation. Which is funny because it's not even really the exclusives. Like I love the Transformers games. I've been playing through a lot of War for Cybertron, stuff like that. I think it's awesome. But yeah, I just want to see PS3 games return in any fashion. I think emulation is more interesting than even like or old IPs returning. And how I don't know how that works. I assume PS6, and I know they have maybe stuff running on the PS5, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I just want things to return from PS3.
Me too. I do feel like so the team that works on the emulated games now for premium, Project Crayon, they have their
Yes,
own
that's it.
PS1
Yeah.
emulator, PS2 emulator. Ideally, they should be working on a PS3 emulator for premium. I do feel like once PS6 comes out and there's still no viable like porting situation for PlayStation 3, that's kind of ridiculous. It's like I feel because everyone thought this problem would have been solved by like PS5,
Yeah.
and we're 6 years into PS5, and this is still like a question everyone's asking. So by PS6, they really need to get their shit together.
Yeah, I we'll see. I hope. And one last question, Radec, before I let you go from my chains of question asking. This is off topic. So GTA 6 pre-orders go live next week. This isn't particularly a PlayStation related thing, but I assume that marketing rights are with PlayStation. We don't really know yet where that's at. I saw you tweet about the blimp for that was everything though, wasn't it? That wasn't just PlayStation 3, wasn't it? It was for Xbox 360. It was just a
I think
pre-order
it was for
bonus.
everything.
Yeah, right. Dude, are you excited? Where are you at on GTA 6?
Hell yeah! Like I love GTA 5, and 4. Like the 4 DLC, the Battle of Gay Tony, I thought was like so awesome. GTA 5, of course, online as well. Spent so many hours with that. Specifically, I love doing the heists and the stunt races.
It's
I
sick,
thought
yeah.
the stunt races were like really fun to do. But GTA 6 is like, dude, I was in 10th grade when GTA 5 came out on PS3 and
Okay.
360.
I
I'm
was in
27 now.
I was in 8th grade. Well, I'm 26, so I was in 8th grade. I was 2 years younger. I don't know how that works. But maybe it was in
Are you
ninth.
2000?
I am 2000.
Okay, I'm 98.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm 2 years younger. Okay, cool. Right
We're
on.
in the same generation pretty
Yeah,
much. Yeah.
pretty much, yeah.
So yeah, it's just like the anticipation, the budget. Like I do like the idea of like the $1 billion game.
Dude,
This like
this is it.
yeah, this is it. And like I've always seen like articles or tweets that's like the death of monoculture. Because like there's so much content on the internet. It's like people are sparsed into their own bubbles, which is I don't think it's a bad thing per se, because it's just like there's just too much content to consume. But the fact that GTA is like, all right, this is the game. This is going to be the cultural zeitgeist moment where like all of society is going to be watching. It's like with the World Cup right now. It's like
That's
my whole
exactly
timeline is like,
yeah, the World Cup. Yeah.
like every tweet is like an auto translate tweet, which I love that feature. It's like the whole world coming together for this
Yeah.
one moment, and just to see that in the video game space is gonna be
And
really
the
special.
Knicks winning in New York as well. That's
Yeah, that
what
was
has been on
huge.
mine, is that all these people coming together. But yeah, I know. I think that's very smart of you to say it is very similar to the World Cup of gaming. And it kind of feels like this is what we've been working towards. I don't know, not to get too like, sweet here, but like if it's kind of beautiful. I mean, I think the
Yeah.
game will be wonderful, but yeah, I think it is beautiful because everybody's gonna play it. Like people people you don't know, like people in the street are going to be playing GTA 6. I had a guy I was in a coffee shop earlier today, and I was just talking to one of my friends about gaming, and he was like, "What console should I buy?" I don't have a console, but I'm going to have to play GTA 6. So I think that's
Oh, really?
cool. Yeah, and I thought that was
That's
so
awesome.
funny. Yeah, and I'm just morbidly curious. I tweeted earlier, like I'm morbidly curious on how it's going to sell units. I think it's going to be so fun to watch how many PlayStations are going to fly off the shelf. Like if you go to a store, like how is it going to work? It's going to have to move units, and just seeing the data is going to be extremely interesting.
Oh, for sure. What's your prediction for the price?
Dude. Oh, for the game? I think it's going to be 70. I really think it's
Me
just
too.
70.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make
agree.
sense. I don't think we get early access.
No.
I think it's just 70 flat and maybe $100 special edition. I don't know what that would be.
Oh yeah, you're right. They'll definitely do like a digital deluxe edition. It's like
Of
if here's
some
an extra
sort.
outfit or like
Yeah.
online money, some shit like that.
Yeah, and I my approach to it is this is really dramatic of me, but of course pre-order, and then I'll probably pre-order a physical edition because I just feel like I want a physical copy of GTA 6.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I feel like a
Well,
midnight thing would be fun to go to as well.
oh yeah, for sure. Like, and one thing with Rockstar, I think they did this with GTA 5. Like, it came with like a map, like with a poster.
Totally. Yeah.
So it's like the thing is, I'm a digital gamer, but if that physical copy does come with a map,
Yeah.
I might have to buy physical for
I
that one
have
'cause
I have
I
all
want
the
that.
PS2 copies of GTA and GTA 4 like all complete in box. And yeah, I have to have the maps, I have to have the posters. Like Vice
Yep,
City
yep.
even comes with like just a poster of the girl, not even the
Oh
map.
yeah, you're right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I hope, and like we got revealed today the GTA girl or whatever they call it,
Yeah.
which is very fun. But yeah, dude, I just want to get your read on that, and I'm very excited for GTA as we all are. It's
Oh,
gonna
for
be
sure.
fun to watch. So, well, Radec, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. It was great meeting you as well. I've seen you so much, so I appreciate it, man. Thank you for letting me pull strings in your head. You're very smart, and I appreciate it, man.
Oh, dude, thank you, man. You've been nothing but kind to me. It was great talking to you.
Dude,
Asked
yeah.
some really great questions, insightful. Kind of reminded me. It's like, oh yeah, I am getting old now. It's like I
Dude.
kind of have to deal with that, you know.
No,
Like
yeah.
I'm
No, you
approaching
do.
young status.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, dude, we are Unk status, and
yeah.
I don't know if that's unfortunate, but we're getting there. So, well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, dude.
Thank you.